Now it's just me and you, Papa.
Finally.
Meow.
Yow.
You good little kittens purr for me.
What's up, gamers with the
Hi! Hello, kittens.
Oh, kitten whiskers.
Oh, kitten whiskers. Alright, let's get this shit started. Why do we still make videos together?
Hi, everyone. It's me, Daniel, and I'm here with my good friend, Nick.
Hello,
Nick.
I am Nick.
That's Nick.
I am. I like that you
Nick.
pointed, even though I don't even know what direction I'm in for you right now.
You're going in that direction now on the screen.
Danny's all around us. Danny is like the Force.
I am all-seeing, all-knowing.
Omnipotent Daniel Phantom.
New Danny just dropped. Okay, so this video idea came from Nick's
job. That's a job.
From
I
Nick's
think.
job. Nick, why don't you describe what you do?
So I make audios of the adult nature on an app called Quinn that is geared towards and for women. So it pulls away from the typical like erotic content that you'd find online to be a bit more personal, a little less exploitative, etc., etc. But yeah, so I do that. I write, record, and edit lovely stories on Quinn.
There you go. And today, if you haven't read the title of this video, we're gonna try and make smut together.
Yay!
Woo!
We're not writing it, but we're gonna be reading it.
We're gonna read.
We're gonna read. But there's a twist. There's a twist, ain't there, Daniel? There's a little twist.
There is a twist.
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
good.
so we can't actually make adult content on YouTube because that's against the rules and I don't want to do that. So we're gonna make this silly. And in order to make it silly, we're gonna make silly voices. We're gonna start normal, but every time we have a new line, we're gonna change the voices we're doing because we're silly little guys, right?
A couple of them. We're at least two.
Couple of
Two silly guys.
Minimum. At
1.5.
least two.
I'm like barely a
1.5.
man. You know, like barely. Like I'm man in practice sometimes, but in energy and spirit, yeah. But yeah, we're a couple silly guys. I think silly guy permeates gender anyway, so.
I have a random wheel set up here with a bunch of voices we could do, but I only have ones that I know I can do. So Nick, I currently have my most famous one, British, and my second most famous, Dobby. After that, we have Mickey Mouse, Mario, Toad, Southern/Cowboy. This isn't really a voice, but I think it'd be funny if we set our gain to 1,000 for a bit. I think it'd be really silly. So
Bass
that's on there.
boost.
Scottish, you don't know this one, but it's Milkman. There's anime, and then there's, in quotes, sexy. So, Nick, what voices can you do?
Okay, I can do Southern, New York, Bronx, Mad Scientist, British, Pirate, Australian, also sexy in quotations.
Oh, Kermit the Frog. So today what we're going to be reading for you guys was a recommendation from my good friend Stella Chu, who thank you Stella, who's very into BL. What we're reading is called The Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation, a Chinese BL. This chapter is called The Incense Burner. Personally, I've never read BL because Killing Stalking is not a BL, but I've read that. Okay, so I do have to explain something. There are two characters that we're going to be reading from. Wei Wuxian, I'm pretty sure is how to pronounce the name. If I got it wrong, please correct me in the comments. Long Wan Ji.
Okay, and Wei Wuxian. All right, cool.
We're
Let's
so
read some smut.
Let's read some smut! Yeah!
He began again. Don't be so straight, Lanzan. Don't take every single thing I say so seriously. I can't fathom how you'd believe all that nonsense. What's there to be angry about? Now stop, alright? Hurry up and let me go. I haven't even finished copying today's scriptures. Now quit.
Hearing this, Lanzan's face calmed as he seemed to relax his arm slightly. Yet right after Wei Ying pulled his wrists out, he grinned mischievously and struck with his palm.
However, almost as if he was long since on guard, Longzan caught Wei Ying's the moment he attacked, holding him down once more. This time, he went even harder, and Wei Ying's wrist was twisted into an even greater curvature. He exclaimed, "I already said I was kidding, Lanzan. Can't you even take a joke?"
Flames seemed to dance within Lanzan's eyes. Without saying anything, he tore off the ribbon on his forehead and wrapped it thrice around the hands of Wei Ying, who was underneath him, locking them in place with a fast knot. So there's our sexy. Now get ready for...
Me when I'm about to bottom.
Hey, listen, they could both be switches.
Right? That's why I'm saying I'm about to bottom.
Yeah.
On the wheel, you have gotten pirate!
With
Arg,
such a
I'm about to top ye.
I'm about to top ye, little boy, you pretty little
Arg.
princess. With such a turn of events, Wei Wuxian was absolutely dumbfounded, watching from the side. A few moments
Okay.
later, he finally turned around to look at Lan Wangji beside him, only to find that although Lan Wangji's face was still snowy white, tinged with not a single trace of red, his earlobes had already become pink.
Wei Wuxian slithered over, up to no good. Something seems to be wrong with this dream of yours, huh? Lan Weiji stunnedly stood up. Stop looking.
Wei Wuxian immediately grabbed him, who was just about to get up and leave. Don't go! I still want to see what would happen in your dream. We haven't even arrived to the best part, have we?
By the desk in the library pavilion. Wei Ying howled for a while, tied up by Lan Zan. After he quieted down, he tried to reason with the other. Lan Zan, a gentleman uses his tongue instead of his fists. You'd be narrow-minded if you'd like this. Think about it. Did I say anything about you?
Lan San breathed soundlessly, his voice cold. Think on your own. What you said about me.
Now I'm pirate.
Oh, yeah. All right, now
Oh,
what am
yeah.
I?
Anime pro tag.
Hey.
Wei Wuxian clung to Li Wanjing, almost biting his earlobe. Yeah, who said you don't understand? What you think about in the day you dream about at night? Lan Zan, tell me the truth. You really want to do this to me myself, don't ya? I can't believe that you're this kind of Han Guanjun.
I don't know what that means.
Although Lan Wangji was still expressionless, the pink had already snuck up to his fair neck. The fingers resting at his knees also curled up unnoticeably.
Over there with his manhood having been seized. Young Wei Jing gasped a few times. What the hell are you doing, Lan Zan? Are ye mad?
Lanzan's entire body had already jammed between Wei Ying's legs. Such a position indeed made one feel threatened. Seeing his disadvantage, Wei Ying immediately changed his words. No. Nobody said you didn't understand. Let go of me first. Let's talk things over.
No voice. All right, yours this time, Nick.
Southern.
He swung his arms agitatedly, but the Gusu Land sect's forehead ribbon was made of fine cloth. No matter how he floundered about, he couldn't break out of the bondage. With a few more swings, he saw the book that landed nearby and grabbed it immediately, throwing it at Lan Zan in hopes that the holy illustrations would knock him sober. Calm down first.
The book first crashed into Lan Zan's chest before it landed between Wei Ying's wide open legs, flipping a few pages. Lan Zan looked down and he could no longer move his eyes.
Coincidentally, that page just so happened to land on an illustration that depicted an extremely obscene position in an extremely bold way. On top of that, both of the illustrated figures were men.
Wei Wuxian remembered that the collection he showed where Lan Wuxian back nothing to do with Katsu. So there wasn't such a page. He couldn't help but once again marvel at this. The details within Lan Wuxian's dreams were so comprehensive that he could almost grasp in admiration.
Lan Zan looked down, staring at the page without a single blink. Wei Ying saw the illustration as well. Immediately, he felt a bit awkward. He wailed again and again within his heart, insisting that actions were more powerful than words. He used all his strength to pull out a foot and kick forward. Yet with only one hand, Lan Zan grabbed the backside of his knee and opened his legs into a wider position. He stripped Wei Ying's belt and trousers with just a few motions.
Wei Ying's only felt his bottom half go cold. Looking down, he felt as if his heart went cold as well, exclaiming, "What are you doing, Lan Zan?
Give me the next one. What am I?
Elmo.
Over at the side, Wei Wuxian was absolutely engrossed as he watched. So excited that he shouted in silence. What do you think? What's he gonna do you?
Stripped of his pants, Wei Ying's legs, slim and white, were stark naked as he kicked them around. Lin Zan pressed his legs down, referring to the illustration. His right hand searched for the with his 2 snowy cheeks.
Wei Ying's entire lower half was restrained firmly. Even when such a private region was forcibly touched, he had nowhere to hide. With 2 fingers, lines all rubbed. Wei Ying shivered. A flash of embarrassment buzzed across his face. Yet he forced it down and struggled as hard as he could, writhing madly. The youth on top of Wei Ying, however, continued to massage the region calmly with his right hand. Eyelids lowered and lips sealed shut. Slowly he exerted more strength until the spot gradually softened. From the ribbon opened slightly, swallowing a small segment of the fair finger almost shyly.
Oh God, I'd never say the phrase of my own volition in my life, let alone as almost Elmo.
This is a man, by the way, guys.
Wei Wuxian glanced at Liu Ying with a smirk. So this is why you refused to come here in here earlier, Han Guanjun, to do such a thing to me in your dream and have it be seen by me. You really want to go hide in a hole, huh? Dobby! Master has given Dobby a hole!
All right,
you ready
what's
for
mine?
your
What's
next
mine?
one?
Give it to me.
New York.
Lan Wangji sat straight by his side. He looked down, and his eyelashes seemed to tremble.
Resting his chin on his hand, Wei Wuxian faced the scene, watching his young self be pinned down by a young Lang Zhan. He grinned. If you were able to dream about it afterwards, Han Guanjun, you should have just did it to me back then.
Before he could finish, Lan Wangji grabbed his hands and pushed him onto the ground, covering his lips with his own. Smacking. Wei Wuxian
And
could
they were
feel his...
boys.
They were boys and they were kissing. Wei Wuxian could feel his boiling cheeks as well as he fiercely beat the heart within his chest. He found it somewhat amusing. As the moist lips parted, he murmured, "What, embarrassed again?"
Oh God, okay, I'm getting a new one. I can't keep doing Dobby. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna say headphone warning real quick. Nick, you might want to turn down your volume.
Okay, I'm ready. Lang Zhan had already leaned his entire body on top of Wei Ying's. The two were tightly connected below, clearly in the process of intrusion. As the hard, foreign object his body bit by bit, Wei Ying felt so uncomfortable that both his legs curled up. Yet because his hands were tightly bound by the forehead ribbon, he couldn't move at all. In pain, he slammed his head wildly against the wall a few times. Lan Zhan put his hand under Wei Ying's head to act as a cushion. At the same time, he sent his entirely inside Wei Ying's body.
In the beginning, it was difficult for the fleshy spot to even take in a single finger. Yet now it was stretched open.
This one is called Inside of the Cave.
You want to hide in a hole?
Oh, Scottish.
Oh, right.
I'm the milkman.
Wei Wuxian turned to Lan Wangji. You're small back then, Lan Zhan, but your size definitely wasn't. Aye, I'm a virgin after all, so I say this is gonna be a rough round.
He spoke as he rubbed and nudged his knees against the
Keep going, this is good, keep going, this is good stuff.
against Lang Wangji's legs on purpose. Now he had seen with his own eyes a live session with him being the protagonist. He was very much turned on and wanted to experience the prowess of yeah.
Before long, Lan Wangji ripped apart his trousers and the lower hem of his clothes without saying a word, while Wei Wuxian naturally parted his legs and coiled them around his waist. Lan Wangji held and they did it against the entrance.
The two made love almost every single day. Both Wei Wuxian's body and heart were long since acquainted with Lan Wangji. He hugged Lan Wangji's neck tightly and trotted a deep breath as he was pierced through by the blade.
That's. Can I give you context for the milkman?
What the fuck is he?
So in my D&D campaign, Nick, there's this like eldritch being who lives in this liminal space, and he's known as the merchant or the broker. And one of like the things I said is that he's just very porous, and sometimes just pus will leak out of his body, and he calls it the milk. And that's his voice.
Give me a new fucking voice.
Would you look at that, Mario?
The entry proceeded quite smoothly. The soft entrance, almost as if he was born to hold the one on top of him. Soon, from where they were connected, came moist woohoo!
Long one cheese was quite impressive in its weight, and the shape of it also curved slightly upwards.
I got Mario, so I'm just trying to do Luigi now.
Keep going.
With every thrust, it accurately grind against the weakest spot, most sensitive spot on the inner wall. Every time the spot was hit, it was whirling wave of pleasure for both of them.
Wee Jean felt light, headed from the long one cheese, his insides contracting sporadically. Woohoo! He shivered from the top of his head to the tip of his toes, arching his neck with relish.
You get Kermit the Frog.
All right, you're reading this big one. What's your character for this big old chapter, this big old section?
He lay amongst the books, scattered on the ground, wrists bound together, and weakly fixed upon his head. Hither's red ribbon had long since disappeared. Hair disheveled, he was on the verge of crying, tears blurring his squinting eyes. Atop him, Lamzong worked for a while. As he thought Wei Ying's legs were far enough apart, he held Wei Ying's legs and put it over his shoulders before it again.
The leg couldn't hang any longer and fell to the curve of his elbow. Both the smooth lines of the leg and the muscles of the inner thigh twitched slightly. It was obvious that Wei Ying was also driven mad by the curved, burning object that through him ceaselessly. This being his first time, he could do nothing but hold tightly onto Lanzan's shoulders as though he was drowning. Ha! He probably couldn't even figure out where he was right now, much less recall that his current agony was afflicted by the one wreaking havoc within his body.
As he watched, his 16-year-old self blushed and trembled while being by his 16-year-old Lanzan. Wei Wuxian felt that it still wasn't enough. Young Lanzan should be even rougher, even fiercer, and bully young Wei Ying until he cried out loud. Right now was far from enough.
Within the small area of the library pavilion, the two titillating acts played out. Wei Ying, who had been feeling quite hazy, seemed as if he was somewhat brought back by the sounds of the Staring at the ceiling of the library pavilion, he shivered before he slowly shifted his gaze down, as though he wanted to see what the situation below his body was like but didn't have the courage to do so.
Coincidentally, after Lanzan toyed for a while, he raised both of Wei Ying's thighs and hung them at his shoulders. After he leaned forward and charged again, Wei Ying's waist was bent into a flexible curvature. Through the blur of the tears, he could see what it was between his buttocks.
All right, the clean little from the work of Lonzon's. Its edges so swollen that it almost seemed pitiful. The wet bin was still. Oh, this is. I don't like this. Other stuff swished around where the two connected, making a mess of things. And in the front, his own was also raised slightly. Okay.
Seeing the horror, Wei Ying was shocked speechless. Soon, he suddenly struggled as hard as he could, conjuring up all his strength and fought out of Lanzan's grip. Flipping around, he crawled forward on his knees, wanting to escape.
For a long while, he'd been pressed in the ground. He'd long since lost all energy. His thighs and his knees quivered as he fumbled only a bit forward before he straight up collapsed on the ground. The position displayed his round, snowy buttocks in the air, rolling down the thighs. Inside the thigh... Alright. Okay. Inside the thighs was covered with... covered with red and purple handprints, able to induce one's sadism with just one look. I would like to say sorry to every person who ever thought about giving me a brand deal or hiring me for a job. This is not who I am, always.
It wasn't even the fact that it's graphic. It was that for me, knowing nothing about these two characters, and suddenly I'm like reading about them, like reminiscing about being their dream of them being 16, but also still being adults.
They're thinking about each other having sex when they were 16.
Yeah, I
and
know.
Now, also at the same time having sex.
Boy love. I don't do this on Quinn, but
Nick's actually sexy on Quinn.
sometimes, and that's debatable. That sometimes is debatable.
See, if I started Quinn, I think once a month I'd bait my people who listen to it by like labeling it like an actual real thing, and then actually just being like,
Alright, and as long as he's been placed on the ground, he's long since lost all
Long
his
since lost any feeling in his buttocks.
anyways,
Anyway,
we're gonna end the video.
thank
now.
you for watching.
Yep.
Follow Danny and subscribe.
Follow Nick. Nick will be in the description as well as your Quinn link. Yes, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
down there.
Go
If you
sub
wanna-
on Quinn.
If you want to listen to Nick being sexy, go sub there. Sub here as well. Rock on.
Rock on.
Anyways,
Oh, I feel like I just aged 5 or 6 years, give or take. Oh yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. Get food, get water, take care of yourselves. Nick, do you have anything to say to the people at home?
Forgive us.
Please. Anyways, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.